family. If you're in or near Columbia, South Carolina, you've got to visit the House of Hathor, located at 6319 North Main Street. Open Tuesday through Saturday, it's your one-stop shop for African clothing, African masks, natural soaps, incense, candles, jewelry, and more. Plus, they've got a beautiful event space. Owned and operated by Baba Rutaski and Mama Neterma Canute. When you support the House of Hathor, you support the culture. When you support the House of Hathor, you support the movement. When you support the House of Hathor, you support the people.
Greetings, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to the House of Hathor's Libation Liberation Lifestyle, that we continue to bring to you messages from the ancestors that will continue to be inspiring, encouraging, enriching, instilling, enhancing, increasing, influential, and enlightening. That as we continue to build and manifest, as we continue to live the life that we have already been anointed and ordained to live through their spirit, energy, and soul, that we are the examples of what real life is about. That the way that we think, the way that we speak, and the way that we live is a true example of their great energy, spirit, and soul. That it brings balance, it brings harmony, and it brings order to our truth. And we are justified always in living our truth. That reciprocity and propriety is given to us because the standards of living that governs our thoughts, words, and actions continues to be reflective in all that we build in their honor, in all that we venerate in their honor, in all that we acknowledge in their honor, so that we may continue to be the true vessels, altars, and temples, that we are the true institution, industry, and environment that brings forth all that is required for us to bring to all those who are in need of our assistance. We come to you this day that we may bring honor to the ancestors and that we venerate them and acknowledge them each and every day so that they will always know that we are true to everything that they have given to us. We call upon our ancestors far and near, fathers and mothers of our fathers, mothers and fathers of our mothers, to bear witness to all that we have done. And it is by your example that you continue to inspire us towards reclaiming our ancestral minds, regenerating our ancestral spirit, liberating our families, our homes, and our communities, and restoring our greatness as a people. We pour libation to bring into our midst your venerable ancestral spirit, radiating your great wisdom, your courage, your dedication, and your unyielding commitment to victory by any means necessary. It is in the honor of our Creator, the great ancestor of all ancestors, our mothers and fathers, our sisters and our brothers, our children and their children, our grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, our aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, and elders of the community, that we pour this libation in your honor. In the honor of our Creator, our great ancestor of all ancestors, and the various manifestations of the creative spirit, we pour libation. Ashe. For our esteemed ancestors, who laid the foundation for human civilization, and who provides the wisdom to which we live and the models by which our lives are guided, we pour libation. Ashe. And for our esteemed ancestors, who suffered the atrocities and the horrors of our Ma'afa, but yet demonstrated the victorious power of the ancestral spirit by maintaining their dignity no matter the cost, we pour libation. Ashe. And for our esteemed ancestors, who survived and made it possible for us to be here today, that we continue the fight of our ancestral liberation and our vindication, we pour libation. Ashe. And finally, for our children and their children and future generations of our ancestors to come, that they too in their time will vindicate our race from all adversaries, and that they will continue to imprint upon the world the great genius of our ancestral humanity, we pour libation. Ashe. May your venerable spirit engulf this occasion to reaffirm our ancestral canity. It is done, the great ancestor of all ancestors, is satisfied. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Dua Neter. So my brothers and sisters, we come to you this day that we continue to be the true manifestors, the true generators, the true reflectors as well as the projectors of our ancestors, that we continue to bring forth the influence and the enlightenment of our ancestors as we continue to live, love, and learn the processes of life that governs everything that we commit and submit ourselves to in their energy, spirit, and soul. And what we're speaking about today, my brothers and sisters, is about strengthening, it's about empowering, it's about reflecting, and it's about projecting. And when we're talking about strengthening, we're talking about our resolve. We're talking about resolving the conditions of today. You see, our ancestors had to resolve the conditions that they were in during the time that they were going through the Ma'afa, the horrific event that took place in our lives. They had to resolve themselves. They had to resolve the conditions and what they had to do. So we had ancestors that fought the fight while they were enslaved or they were being oppressed, depressed, and suppressed. We had ancestors that had to do it from a particular standpoint that we may not even agree with, but that helped the process of them getting out of that bondage. And it took a very long time. It took 400 to 500 years in order for them to go through that process because they had to recognize where they were and what they were doing and what was being done to them. It didn't take long for them to recognize it, but they did have to take that time to do so because they was taken away from the environment that they knew so much about. But they was in a different environment now, and they had to resolve. They had to resolve that issue. We had some ancestors that actually were able to be reminded of themselves, of what actually that they had in spirit, that they can fight against that oppression, depression, and suppression. They had to recall all of that knowledge and wisdom that was given to them so that they can bring it back, be reminded of it, and then be remembered in their true self. They had to put themselves back together again and fight against all that was being brought to them. And then we had some ancestors that they had to be empowered. They had to make sure that their hearts were in the right place, that they were attached to others of like mind and like spirit, because there were some ancestors that chose to live in that environment. And then those that did not want to live in that environment, they had to detach from them because they knew that that was not the right place for them. They knew that there was something greater for them because their ancestors gave them everything that they were required to have to fight against anything that was not of your like spirit, of your like energy, of your like soul. And so there was a lot of battling, not only against those that wanted to oppress us and depress us and suppress us, but they had to fight against themselves because they knew that that was not right for them. It was not just for them. So there was a lot of infighting with themselves because who they thought was for them was against them. And isn't that the same thing that's happening today, even with us now? So we have to resolve ourselves once again against those that they may like, or they don't mind being suppressed, depressed, and oppressed. So we have to detach ourselves from them because everybody that is skin folks is not kin folks. So we have to recognize who is for us and who is against us. And if you are against us, then we cannot attach ourselves to your energy, to your spirit, to your soul, because you're choosing. That is a choice that you're making to be the way that you are. But now we have to move further away from you so that we can attach ourselves or interconnect, interrelate, interact with those that are like mind and like spirits. So therefore, those are things that we have to do within ourselves. We have to be able to reflect back to our true selves, our true identity, our holistic versions of ourselves. That is what reflection is. That we must think about, go into ourselves, meditate, pray, honor, venerate, acknowledge our ancestors so that they will give us our truth. And they stand with us. All 100,504,000 and more of our ancestors, they stand with us in our spirit. And they enhance and increase and enrich us as we continue to live the life that they have already given to us to live. And last but not least, we project it outward. We build, we manifest, we create an environment that is reflective of the environment that is within us. We reflect on that and we project it outwardly. We don't have to do a lot of talking. We just have to be or become. Because in that process is only becoming and then being. But once you be, you must sustain and maintain being. Because if you don't sustain and maintain being, then we open ourselves up to anybody else that will come in to try to dismantle or destroy or deconstruct everything that we're building that is reflective of our own ancestors. And this is what the ancestors are bringing to us today, to recognize our strengthening, to recognize our empowering, to recognize our reflecting, and to recognize our projecting their essence of life that dwells within us. And through it all, my brothers and sisters, just as today is always, we celebrate. We celebrate our accomplishments. Because if we don't celebrate, the road becomes even harder for us to continue to sustain and maintain, because we're not celebrating our accomplishments. Celebrate with yourself. Celebrate with those who are of like mind, like souls, like spirits. Celebrate your accomplishments that you continue to sustain and maintain. Celebrate your accomplishments within yourself. And as you continue to sustain and maintain your own accomplishments, then that means that you are better able and equipped to recognize when the blessings are being bestowed upon you. You're able to recognize your own enhancements, your increased and your enrichments, because our ancestors, they do ensure that we will receive everything that we are designed and anointed and ordained to receive when we continue the work that we are required to do. This is what the ancestors is bringing to us today. This is what we continue to do when we honor them. We honor them best by creating and manifesting in their likeness. We celebrate and honor them and acknowledge them and venerate them every day in our accomplishments in building, constructing, creating, manifesting in their likeness, in the spirit of their essence of their soul and their energy. When we do those things, then we are better equipped and we are better able, and like-mindedness and like-heartedness, to be that which is innate within us, which is a spiritual being having human experiences and bringing balance within both of those realms. And as we do so, my brothers and sisters, we will always be submitted, committed, and admitting to our ancestors that we recognize our true selves, our true divinity in their spirit, in their energy, and in their soul. Because the great ancestor of all ancestors that has given us our ancestors, our angels, it is looking for us to find the balance between not only ourselves, but within life and nature. And so we leave you today with the prayer, a cleansing to absolve us of any energies or spirits that are trying to get within us, and we want to fight against that energy and spirit so that we can be true to ourselves and true to our families, true to our communities. So we say peace and power to you all this day, and ashe to our ancestors.
O great ancestor of all ancestors, we call upon you this day that you will cleanse us of all negative energies that surrounds us, that you will break all work of negative magic that is against us, that you will take away from us all envy, evil, bad luck, and invincible enemies, and that you will bring protection, peace, and prosperity into our